Okay, I call the May 21st, 2018 Administrative Services Committee to order. We have two items on the agenda. City-owned property. The committee will discuss the request of Jim Dubé to purchase a small parcel of land off Water Street that is behind one of his establishments. This was originally discussed at the February 20th committee meeting, and staff was asked for more information. Staff has reviewed this property and feels that this is not needed for city purposes. The lot value indicates a reasonable sale price of $2,500 plus transfer costs. So Travis is somewhere. There he is.
He's waiting for you. Thank you, sir. Have we heard any more from the guy at the car?
Did you?
How could you do that?
I'll make another lap.
Good evening.
Good evening. As Mr. Mahan indicated, Mr. Dubé approached the city about purchasing a small portion of land behind one of his businesses for expansion purposes. If you are looking at the picture with the water to the upper side, like this, about halfway down right here, you'll see a 13.
13,
Yep.
That's the lot we're talking about, is number 13. And as you can see, it's unusually shaped, very narrow around three sides of his current business. We had both Public Works and Fire look at it to see if they needed it. Apparently there used to be some historical access to the river there for water, for trucks, and they indicated they did not need it. And then I talked with Dave Russell, and I reviewed it as far as square footage and whether you'd be allowed to do anything with that lot by yourself. In other words, start a new business or build a new building there. And the way it's laid out, there's just not enough boundary setback.
Okay.
While the square footage might meet a minimum, there isn't enough boundary setback because it's so narrow and wraps around like that. So the only lot owner it could go to would be one of the abutters. 15A and 15 are both Mr. Dubé's businesses, and 12 is the VFW. Staff reviewed it and feels that the only lot that it's reasonable to add it to would be either 15A or 15 to combine those to make a larger lot for development. When we looked at the square footage on it, it actually comes out pretty minimal, and it has little usable access as far as a commercial business, as far as like a delivery truck or anything coming in, because it's got just that narrow strip beside the business that comes down into 13. So when we deal with limited access and we reduce properties every day, because, or not every day, but it's a very typical way to do it. You reduce value of properties because of their limitations, whether it's wetland or limited access or things like that. So that gets us down to a pretty small number. And it calculates out by square footage to be about $2,500. So Mr. Dubé, my direction was to talk to Mr. Dubé about that, and I did. And he agreed to $2,500. He agreed to consider it, if that's what you guys wanted to do, $2,500 plus covering, splitting any legal costs for the deeds and et cetera.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a certain amount there. It's not huge, but there is a certain amount of cost there.
Right. Good.
So he recognizes that that's cost that he'd have to share in as well.
Okay. So you, Dave, Bill, everybody's on board with this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for Travis? Okay, so on this committee, who do we have here? We have John, Jan, and Shirley. Okay, so could I get a motion from either Shirley or Jan to send this item to the full council for approval, please?
I'll make a motion to send it to the full council for approval.
Okay, Jan, is there a second? Okay, Shirley. Okay, all those in favor? None opposed. Thank you. Guess you stay right there, I guess. The second item, the committee will discuss foreclosed property located at 79 Sanford Avenue. This property was foreclosed through the sewer lien process and needs to be accepted and decided upon whether to retain it or put it out to bid.
Is it a house?
Yep. So the process is the same as any property that we take on a lien.
This is a house, correct?
Correct.
And Sanford, where,
Parallel to Stillwater across from the Hannaford.
Hannaford, that back street.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the property was sent last week when we discovered the lien to Rubman and Winchell, and Ms. Foster, I believe, has a report on the current owner search on that. So we would recommend taking her advice, and if it's clear, to take the property pursuant to the mature lien.
This is one of those properties for the last 5, possibly 6 years have been vacant.
Oh.
Get calls every summer, the lawn's not being mowed. Now we have developed a
Rodent.
rat problem
Yep.
in that neighborhood. I met with Modern Pest over there today. There's a lot of burrow holes around the property.
Oh, really?
He really needs to get into the basement to take a look in there
Okay.
to see what's happening. His recommendation, if they find, there's not a food source there, obviously, but
Right.
there's food sources throughout the neighborhood, Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
His opinion would be contact individual neighbors, which I already sent out a mailing to them, just letting them know that we're gonna get Modern Pest involved in this, so that they can protect their pets from any harmful. And he said it would be best if we could get not only this property, but a few others, and there was a gentleman in today that said he'd be happy to have them bait his property, so we can clean up
The whole area.
that neighborhood.
I do know, just so the rest of you know, that Dave's phone, Travis, Bill's, and mine have been ringing off the hook the last 2 weeks about this problem up there. So, yeah, it's pretty bad. So I'm glad we're at where we're at to take care of this.
And going through the deed research, and we found that, we have this tax lien, so it's a.
Good. So legally,
It's actually a sewer lien, a mature sewer
Sewer
lien.
lien, excuse
And,
me.
no, it's okay. And our only concern here is that on the, notice of impending automatic foreclosure, so the notices were sent properly, the, notice of the lien amount, the certificate was recorded properly, the timing was all done correctly. But the, deed reference in the notice of impending foreclosure is to the source deed, not the, lien certificate, which is what it indicates. It says, you are the party named on the sewer lien certificate filed on July 5th, 2016, and recorded in book, and cites the wrong source. So it cites the source deed rather than the lien certificate, and we are of the opinion that it probably is not of material concern, but in this case, if someone were to come forward and say, you took my property over a $300 sewer lien, and this defect was there, we can't say for sure that the court wouldn't favor the landowner in that case.
okay, so my question is,
So our recommendation would be for you all to consider whether you think that that's a material concern for you in this case, considering the circumstances, and we can just send the notices again.
so you just resend it out the right way? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
There's also $3,800, it hasn't gone to lien, but there's $3,800 in taxes that are owed on it. The sewer bill now is $700 and some odd dollars.
So you're saying we would rewrite it the right way and send it out?
Yeah, there's a procedure in the statute for curing a defect such as that, and we could just follow the procedure on that and just make sure it's all taken care of. But in this situation, I mean, the tax lien matured in 2018, in January of 2018. The 30-month period for defective notices for the redemption has already passed. You're kind of in a okay position, but there is this issue.
What
Right.
would it be pushing it back to?
The notice,
Yeah.
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I could look into that and make sure that we could have it taken care of. But it's just the decision of the council of whether you can move forward right now and still send the notices.
Or just
Or just hold
fix it
off?
and then
Yeah.
resend it out, and then we just deal with it again when it comes back to us? But we'd still take
My
care of the...
situation is I still have a rat infestation.
Right, so you're still going to take care of your issue, no
Yes.
matter what we do?
Is that something that the landowner,
He can.
So what I'm saying is that the sewer lien has matured right now based on this, and we can cure this defect. We can still proceed as if this was properly done and cure this defect while he's taking care of the problem.
Okay,
No one, I mean, it may never be challenged.
right.
We don't know if a court would even say that it was a material defect. They might say, they're just describing the property. All the other notices were sent properly.
Oh, okay,
Mortgage was recorded.
Okay, so
This is
that-
a notice
okay.
of impending automatic foreclosure. It's just the final step.
okay.
But in certain situations, like I said, the sewer lien certificate was for $300 in this case.
Right. So when does this,
Public, as a health officer, with this being a potential public health issue, he can go there and deal with that.
Do what he needs to
So
do.
that's basically what
Right.
we're proceeding.
And that,
Yeah.
for me,
Ahead
that's
with.
the big issue.
Right.
I've never been in the building, I don't know if we do take it, if it's worth putting out to bid. I don't,
Right. So if, what's the next step of this? I mean, does this go to the full council at the next meeting or something? Is that how we do it? Because it's not on there tonight. I know there's one on there tonight, but that's not this one.
this was just for discussion.
Okay.
Because this kind of came up, we're trying to notify the right people, then we find out we actually, because I was gonna look at it as a dangerous building.
Right.
From the health aspect, but then we found out we had this matured sewer lien.
Okay. So we could just send this on to the full council to get approval, and it wouldn't be till the next full meeting anyways, if then. I don't even know when it would be. Would it be at the actual June 4th meeting, or would it be, it would probably be further than that,
It's
wouldn't it?
depending on how long it takes to,
We certainly would have the process a lot better defined for you by that meeting. So
Okay.
You probably could make your decision then.
Okay. So you're just looking for the committee to push this to the full council for full approval then, at this point?
That's your wish, yes.
Okay.
no.
So move.
The question I would have for Katie, to gain entrance into this, to see if we have an infestation in the basement, are we as the municipality comfortable that if we spread the jam and open the door to gain access, that's,
Yeah, I think as Bill said and as Ed offered in emails last week, this is a public health problem. So it's not just, you're not trespassing on, you could do this on any property, even if there, regardless of all the other issues, you could still go forward if
Okay.
someone wasn't taking care of a rat problem. It's not,
Okay.
it's pretty severe, from my understanding.
Yes.
yeah.
We won't go into details, but yes. All right, so Jan made the motion to push this to the full council, full approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Shirley, the second. All those in favor? None opposed, 3-0. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So move.
And
Second.
Shirley. All those in favor? None opposed. Okay, that takes care of the Administrative Services Committee. We will move on to the Finance Committee, and on this one, like I said, at this point, it's just Carol and myself here for that committee, so this is going to be for informational purposes only. We have two items, the airport and discuss the budget. So on the airport manager Lance Farrer has received 3 bids for the construction of a 48 by 62 storage hangar at the airport. He is looking for recommendation to the full council to accept the bid from L&L Builders of Maine in the amount of $108,044.28 plus 5% for a total not to exceed $113,084.50. Bill, you taking this one?
Yes, I am, because I don't know where Lance is. I saw him today, and we talked about this, so I don't know what happened. Yeah, this is going to get paid out of hangar reserve account this year. This is with the forestry department, so they're setting up a 10-year lease to pay this back to the city over 10 years. They sign a lease for 10 years to pay this money back to the hangar reserve. It's going to be cold storage right now. They just need more storage down there, and the pole barn that they're currently in is falling apart. They're going to tear that down themselves and clear that area and then build this back in place of it.
So a 10-year period to pay this back?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I can get you more, he's got all the detail on it. I don't really know what happened, but.
So our,
hope
so
he's
the
not
the
sicker.
reserve, the reserve accounts all can handle this, yeah?
Yep.
I mean, right off the bat?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions on this? Okay, so now we'll just go on to the next one, the 2018-2019 budget. The committee has met a few times over the last 3 or 4 weeks with Bill and Danielle, and has done want to say thank you to those two and the department heads. Have done a tremendous job. So if you guys could let us know where we are at as of tonight.
So just a brief overview here, as brief as I can be. So what you have in front of you right now, ones with the city seals on the front that look like this. You'll have the initial budget requested by department heads, excluding new staff. So you'll have that total. You've got the next one, which says municipal budget after reductions. It's on there. When you look down through that budget, there's also included in here budget notes and reductions, so that goes down through here on this on this piece of paper, so you can compare that.
So
I
this
know this is a lot of paper in front of you. We want to give you the original one, give you
Right.
the 1 cent reductions, then this describes what's been taken out.
So this is what you've done from the original 15% down to where we are now.
So major items that will impact the budget. So you have wages in there at 3% increase for non-union employees. Union employees have a 2% COLA and 2% step increase this year. When you read down through this list, health and dental, there was a fairly large increase in that. One thing that has an impact on our health insurance is it comes mid-year. So we're estimating every year how much we think it's going to go up. It was short a little bit this past year. It was about 3% higher than we actually budgeted for. So that had an impact to the budget. Short-term disability increase was 7%. Main state retirement went up just slightly, 0.3% for union and non-union. When you get into reductions by department, these are all listed down through here. Employee benefits, it was $20,000. Workers' comp went down. Safety program initiatives have had a big impact on that, so that was very helpful. We reduced some money from IT technology. We can defer. Airport, we had removed some money from that, $14,000. We took out some public education out of the fire department, $2,500. Police department, $16,000 removed for handgun replacement. Street lighting, from Department 3020, there was $3,120 removed from that. Public Works, in total, out of the 4,000 account, there was $67,279 removed. About 47,000 of that was part-time snow plowing. We had a call crew that we're going to bring in on that we've removed from that. And there was also $20,000 in there for gravel road maintenance, beyond what we regularly do. That was removed. Transfer station, there was $105,000 removed from that. We had $100,000 in the budget for closing of the CDD landfill. We reduced that to, we wanted to leave $25,000 in there because we're going to have to do something with the CDD landfill. John and I have a meeting with CES tomorrow, Wednesday. On Wednesday, we're going to try to see if we can get 2 or 3 different options for them to see whether we want to relicense it, close it, or operate it. And we'll bring those back to you folks so you can have that to chew on during this budget. But the $25,000 should be able to get us enough engineering money to be able to figure that out over this next year. And I think DEP will give us enough time to come up with a reasonable plan for that. We also had $24,000. We just got notice a week ago. Our perk rates went down from $84 to $75 a ton. So we were able to take $24,000 of the tipping fees from perk. 5010 park maintenance, $31,000 was removed from that. Reduced a couple part-time people in the mowing crew and shortened the amount of time that they'll actually be here from spring to ending in fall. And we reduced the amount of grub maintenance that we'll do by $4,000. The municipal building, we took out $40,000 there. $20,000 of that was for a structural evaluation at the Public Works building. In the supporting columns at the garage, it is starting to show rebar through those columns, so at some point we're going to have to go through that and take a look at it. John is doing a cursory look at that. I mean, I don't think we're in a point where the garage is going to fall down tomorrow, but we certainly need to start paying attention to it because it has some structural issues. And we also took $20,000 out of building maintenance for this year, overall for the whole city. And the heavy equipment capital, which I went down through that with you guys before, but we've removed that, another $115,900 from that account. And then when you look at capital projects overall, $5,000 came out of the ADA improvements. Paving was knocked down $218,000. There's a couple $1,000s out of pool repair. GIS projects down $2,000. Penny Road was reduced $5,000. We had stormwater repairs of outfalls. That was reduced $5,000. We had Bennett traffic light was $3,000 down. We had repair of or replacement of playground equipment, which is $5,000. And traffic lights was $25,000. We really hadn't had anything in traffic lights before, and based on just the issues that we've had over the past couple of years, we were going to put that in, but we took it back out. So basically from the first round of budget that you got to where we are now, we took out about $725,000 out of the budget. So when you put that to paper on what we've been discussing, and you look at the estimated mill rate calculation, which is
Yeah, I see it, yeah.
this piece. Gross budget's $10 million. The net school budget's $5.5 million. County tax is $353,000, and our tax incremental financing district is $316,000 for a total of $16.5. Our revenues are $5,552,000. You see the total revenues are $6.2 million. So our unadjusted to be raised from taxes is $10,264,000. We looked at fund balance as we discussed. It's $400,000 out of the fund balance. So when you get down to the bottom line, this is with a flat valuation, which I think this year will actually pick up a little bit of money in the value, not a lot. But leaving that valuation flat, the estimated mill rate would be 23.23, so it's a 3.9% increase. And I think that's your worst case scenario. I believe we're going to get back probably $40,000 in homestead exemption. And like I said, I think we'll probably pick up some new value, not a lot, maybe $1.5 million or something. But as you start getting down into numbers this size, every time you pick up $40,000-$50,000, you're ticking off about 0.5% off in that
Each time that we do that,
3.9.
right,
So it could be more like a 2.9%.
right, when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Good.
And that is what happened last year.
That's what happened last year. Last year, we approved a 2% increase. We ended up at a 0.9
Yeah.
at the end of it, when it
So
all
this
comes
is
in.
this should be a worst
Worst case scenario
you're
is
looking at.
3.9. No, you guys have done a great job. Once again, department head, all the department heads, and, this is the second year, and I have a big speech planned for the first reading of the budget. But this is the second year the mill hasn't been open, so that's $850,000 each year that we haven't got. So it's tough. I think this is the year that it's hit us. So I know you guys wanted some more for the budget, but hopefully next year. It's just a little tough one this year. I appreciate everybody's help with this. I know it's been tough. Okay, so we will have two public hearings on this. It's first and second meeting of June.
Yep.
Is there any questions for Bill where we're at?
No.
Okay, great. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
When are we due for a reevaluation?
That
10
is,
years
it's
up
10
in
years.
it.
I believe Bill and
Yes,
Travis have been talking about that.
Yeah, it's there's several different items that impact that. One of them states once every 10 years. It's also your quality rating that you have and your assessment ratio. And I have to look to Travis because I don't do it. We're around 90% still. Is that right?
We had 98 last year, and we're due again in 2 weeks to have a state valuation review.
So depending on where that is, I mean, in 2007, the city did a complete reval. One of the things that we've been talking about is I think we could have probably just our cost schedules looked at versus the sales that have happened. You might have a couple listers go out and just take the current property record cards and verify the information that's on them. I don't believe we need to go.
So you don't have to go in the
complete
houses and
evaluation
stuff like
again.
that.
I don't think so. Not in this round.
Okay. So you guys will make that determination?
Yep.
Some
Thank
point?
Biggest thing's going to be, when you start really running into problems is when Maine Revenue Services, because they come here every year and audit Travis's records, and they start saying stuff like, we're going to adjust your homestead exemptions because you're not within compliance. They'll start impacting things like that, tree growth, and there's nothing like that. So
when you say like the 90% something, that's because we're in compliance. That's
right.
That's what that rating is.
Yeah.
And we were what now? 98, you said?
Is that
98?
98 last year.
98 last year. It's pretty
So
high.
there's a quality rating in there too that needs to be below. If you get above a 15, which I know this is just all me talking right now, but that quality rating, when you get above a 15, they'll start showing in sale ratio studies where certain neighborhoods or certain style of houses are getting further and further away from the average. And so that's when they'll start pushing you to say, newer capes are selling for a lot more than what they're being assessed at or whatever it is.
So that percentage, like 98, what are we normally at? What's the average that Old Town's been at the last 10 years?
It's been in the high 90s. That's
All
where-
90s every
that's where
time?
it is.
Yeah. Since
So
I
another-
started, 97 to 99, right in that range, and that number he talks about between 1 and 15, the target area is around a 9 or 10, and we're at 9 last year. So those
So
numbers fare pretty well.
The state's not going to push us on doing a reval right now.
Right.
Because a lot of towns don't have that rating, so they won't push it. There's a lot of towns that are way, way deeper in than we are as far as what needs to be done, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. All right, so that will be it for the Finance Committee. Thank you again, everybody. We will move on to the special council meeting. So I call the May 21st, 2018 special council meeting to order. Flag salute. Donna, could you start that for us, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
A silent roll call has been taken and a quorum is present.
Okay, thank you. There are no minutes. Petitions, communication, citizens' request. Is anyone out in the audience? No. Reports. Okay, Council President. Couple things. Council wants to say thank you to all the staff for participating in the safety training last week. I heard it went very well. The council ourselves got a little bit of training, but I heard it went very well that day, and wanted to thank Travis and the safety committee. I'm not sure who everybody is on the committee, Danielle, but thank you guys for setting that up, done a great job, and really improved. We met, who did we get our training from?
Richard Moore.
Richard Ward. He's a very nice guy, spoke very highly of everybody here, so we are definitely doing the right thing, so that's great.
He's not always nice if you're not in compliance.
He was nice that day, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, it was.
That was a good sign. And this weekend, I did drive by for the spring cleanup. I drove by on Saturday 4 times, Sunday on 3. It looked like that was going very well, John, so thank you very much.
It was a resounding thank you from the community.
Good, good. And I saw Dave was there also, and that's great. I thought it went well. I personally, I talked to Carol about this last week. I think I've only seen 2 properties
Yeah.
in the city that actually put stuff outside.
21 today.
21.
452 participants on Saturday and Sunday, and only 21 residents still have something out front.
Okay,
That's pretty good.
that's good. So how does that, so that's when Dave takes over to go after that stuff? Yes. Gotcha. Okay. So thank you very much. Glad it worked. Standing committees, nothing. City councilors. What do we got going on?
No?
Okay. City attorney.
I don't have a report unless you have any more questions for me.
Nope. I'm good. Special committees. City manager.
Spring cleanup. that went over well. As you just heard, household hazardous waste is June 23rd. We'll follow that up with that also.
Where's
I think
that
one
at, the
thing-
transfer station?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think one thing that came out of that too, that they got a little overwhelmed with, was the electronic side of it. So we'd probably try to move electronics to household hazardous waste. We could have those two things together.
It was, the two first times I went, there was quite a line.
Yes.
I saw all the pallets of the electronics. It seemed like that was a
Well,
big thing.
it was quite a line, but you handled it very well.
Oh, yes.
We learned a lot. I mean, it was our first time out. The guys and girls that worked for me did a phenomenal job.
It's good.
We learned a lot, and we learned quickly, so we can make it significantly better. We do
There wasn't a long wait.
No, it seemed like,
it bad.
No, it went well.
23 dumpsters full.
was it
Wow.
really?
May I say something?
Yeah.
Jim
I
Dunning.
had a
Yep.
complaint about the styrofoam blowing on somebody's lawn.
We fixed that. Sorry
I
about
thought you
that.
had, thank you.
It happens.
John ran after.
Fixed it.
John squeezed a beanbag with the excavator and it blew up by mistake, so it was blowing all over the place.
I'll own that.
It was inside like a couch or something, so he didn't see it.
So that's how it blew all over the
Yeah.
place?
Ouch.
Oh, boy. That's why you weren't there on Sunday, right?
Yeah, 'cause I
Broke the beanbag.
Took him out of the operator's chair,
Yeah.
and he was done. We did get designated as an opportunity zone, which
Yes.
is a big deal. The mill site is in that, and also part of the airport. Basically, what that does is it allows large investors for the capital gains tax, that if they invest in those areas, it defers those payments. So hopefully, on the mill site or up at the airport, that will help spur some activity there. And basically, each governor in the state designates those zones, and so we were there was, I can't remember the total number, it might have been 35 or so zones, but this was one of them included in the state, so.
I didn't really understand the first time he told me, but basically, from what I gather, instead of giving you money to the government, they can invest down in these areas, correct?
Yes, if it stays over a certain amount of time, each year that goes down, it's on a sliding scale. So if you have an investment, basically, and the IRS is still writing the rules right now, they just passed this in April. But that would, after 10 years, if your investment was in here and that capital gains money, you wouldn't pay any taxes on that. So that should spur some
Some
opportunities for
businesses,
sure.
that people that have, instead of giving money away to the government, people rather invest it. So that's that's very good news.
And we're still working with FEMA. Danielle and I had a call today. We have a meeting, Danielle and I, Scott, John, with them, trying to get back money from the windstorm.
Oh,
Um,
right.
I don't know if it was their PR guy today that talked with us, but it sounds like we actually may get some money back. He was very positive towards possibly even funding the traffic lights down here.
Oh, really?
Yep. They'll even pay some of the labor costs for removal and pickup of the brush and trees. And so
Good.
He made it sound very positive, so I'm hoping we'll get some of that money back.
He's a PR guy, though, right?
Well, I called him a PR guy. That wasn't really fair. He just sounded way too positive. That's it for me.
Closed Monday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry about that. Memorial Day
Oh,
parade.
parade, yes.
Yeah, Monday starts at 11 o'clock.
You guys still selling tickets downstairs, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Do we want to mention Thursday? That we're closed for an hour?
We're closed Thursday for an hour. That's this Thursday?
Yes.
Yes.
We're having a retirement luncheon for Shannon.
Shannon.
Okay, so what time we closed? Noon?
12 to 1.
12 to
Yeah.
1. Okay. All right. Any questions for Bill? Thank you. Consent agenda, new business items number 1, 2, and 3. Counselor Ketchen, please.
Resolved, the Old Town City Council hereby approves the suggested motions under new business items 1, 2, and 3 as presented. The City Council will consider authorizing the city manager to execute a municipal quitclaim deed to clear title of property at 627th Street. There was a That's all I have to say, right?
Yep.
City Council will consider approval of an application from Old Town Boosters for a major special event permit for Smokey's Greatest Shows to be held in the Riverfront Park, and to waive the permit fee. City Council will consider accepting a bid for city-owned property located at 942 West Old Town Road.
Okay, is there a second on that?
Second.
Jan, discussion? All those in favor? None opposed, 5-0. Okay, moving on, public hearing, old business, new business. Item number 4, the city council will consider authorizing the city manager to take all necessary steps to retain tax-acquired property pursuant to the mature tax lien process. The property currently has buildings that will need to be raised. This property was removed from a council agenda motion on March 5th, 2018 for further review. Councilor Brissette, please.
Resolved, the Old Town City Council hereby authorizes the city manager to take all necessary steps to retain the following tax-acquired property as recommended by the Administrative Services Committee. The City Council further authorizes the demolition of any structures located on the property. The address is 2444 Bennick Road. It is a mobile home. The condition is poor. The occupancy is vacant, and the purpose of retention is to provide parking for the Pea Cove Cemetery.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Carol, discussion. Travis.
As it says, this was already brought through the Administrative Services Committee, brought to the full council once. It was removed because Councilor Peterson knew of someone that may be interested in a butter purchasing the property for expanding their own lot. I've met with those individuals, discussed what the city's intended purpose was for it, what their intended purpose was for it, and they asked us if the council was to bid it out, what would the minimum bid be? So I developed a minimum bid, cleared it with the city manager, told them what the minimum bid would be, and they decided they were not interested.
Okay.
So
All right. Any other questions for Travis on this? All those in favor? None opposed. 0. Okay. The last item, City Council will consider going into executive session for the purpose of discussing a personnel matter. I'm going to postpone this until the June 4th meeting when we have full council here. So I'll ask for a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Jan, is there a second?
Second.
Shirley. All in favor? None opposed. And the time is 7:07 p.m.